What is good, all of our listeners and viewers? Welcome to another episode of Games and Groceries. My name is Adam.
And I'm Liz.
And we're in the classroom of Video Game Podcast because we're on episode 101, Games and Groceries 101. We are in college again. We are going to be talking about how our favorite video games are generally nostalgia and why that is. But first, we've got some segments for you. Yes, we do.
You're so strange.
Yeah, I am. I am. Last week, we celebrated 100 episodes.
We did.
Which brings us to 101. But last week was a Ask Us Anything podcast, and I asked you to ask us anything. But there was a few questions that fell under the radar, mostly because we recorded it before they got into our attention. So before we get into our little intro, I want to do like a rapid fire little questionnaire thing. We've got 3. So first, I'm just gonna read this question because I don't know how to answer it. It's from Slippery John Sausage. If you're listening to this, man, I love your comments. Please keep commenting because they're just the most...
They're just madness.
They're just the most backwater, nonsense I've ever heard, and I love it. So Slippery John Sausage says, when you're hunting for gators, what game are you...
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
When you're hunting for gators, what game are you thinking of playing to relax your sore body when you get home? And do you pair your games with specific types of gator meat when you eat it? I don't know much about games, but Pong is fun when you got only one hand and your other hand is holding a steak of juicy gator thigh. Thanks and congratulations on the 100 years of podcast.
Please keep commenting, man. I love you. Every time he does something, I don't know. I absolutely love it. This is stupid. I love you, man. You're awesome. I don't know him personally. He just started commenting out of nowhere, and I just love it.
Yeah.
So quick fire. Volt Supreme has 3 questions. Very quick fire on this one. Would you consider reviving your game streaming or Let's Plays for Alien Isolation? I would probably watch that one. Probably the best games ever. The reason why we don't do Let's Plays anymore is just because the technical difficulties that went into it wasn't worth it. It got lower amount of views, and when we had to set everything up and set up the game streaming and everything had to be perfect. I'm like, okay, hopefully everything's recording just right. Let's do this. And then sometimes the video would come in corrupted, and then Liz would have to work endlessly to try to make it's just more complicated than what we have time for.
So we will definitely want to bring them back when we have more time to do it.
Yeah.
If there comes a day where we're able to do this full time, we'll most definitely do Let's Plays again.
Mm-hmm. When we do this full time. Also, seeing as you always talk about films in your game podcast, what are your favorite games that have spawned out of movies? Basically, games that are movies, straight up Harry Potter 1, 2, and 3. Like, straight up, if you have any other answers, no. But the Chamber of Secrets especially, I loved that game so much. Oh, you love the Aladdin games, or the Aladdin Sega game.
Yeah, I did have that. I was like, I don't think I've ever played a video game based on a movie.
Mm-hmm. You loved Aladdin.
Aladdin is the only one.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't played it since I was really little.
And finally, triple question. What film would you like to see turned into a game? Presumably, would done properly. At first, I would have said John Wick, but that's already kind of a strategy game. So, actually, I had an answer and I lost it. Do you have one? A film that you would like to see turned into a game?
I would say some sort of historical film.
Okay.
Because it would be a good storytelling game. Like one of my favorite movies is The Miracle Worker.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could be a really interesting game to try and be like Helen's teacher or something.
Okay.
Like something like that. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Helen Keller.
Yeah.
She
Straight up. Parasite, the game. That would be pretty awesome.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, Parasite the game. That would be so weird.
I would be interested in seeing how that would interpret into a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's our answers for that. Actually, I had an answer for that. I legitimately had an answer for what film, but originally it was John Wick, but it's kind of a game, kind of not, but whatever. And then finally, we have but not least, last but not least.
Just read it.
We have from Forrest. I'm not going to say his last name because I don't have permission. Our good friend Forrest. Well, you're now my good friend because you said you love our podcast, so you're now my buddy. Hey, Adam and Liz, congrats on reaching your 100th episode. My question for your Ask Us Anything is, if Donkey Kong had to retire from heroism and get a full-time desk job in today's world, what career would he choose? Big fan of your show. Best, Forrest.
Construction work.
Construction worker?
Yeah.
Okay, why?
Because, I mean, they take things down and, like, build things up, and he's strong. Mm-hmm. So he can, like, help destroy the buildings, but he's also strong enough to, like, help rebuild them and carry stuff.
Used car salesman.
Oh, I can see that.
Used car salesman. Specifically used cars. Specifically used Hyundais.
You're so weird.
Specifically.
It's like always your go-to.
A used Hyundai salesman. He's got the tile ready. He's got the grit, right? And then he would slap the roof of the car like, you don't know how many bananas
break the car.
Exactly. He's like, oops, I'm just clumsy. But like, he's got so much charm. But no, he's got so much charm that he would, override it. And Diddy Kong would be with him too, just kind of like fixing whole situations. Mario would be the new Nissan salesman. Mario would straight up be a new car salesman, but Donkey Kong straight up used car salesman.
Okay.
Yeah. But thank you, Forrest, for that question. He sent that via email, contact@gamesandgroceries.com. So if you want to, if you want to, chat with us a little bit, definitely hit us up on the email. But those were some questions that we missed from last week's podcast. And we are already 10 minutes in. What? Okay. So that was supposed to be rapid fire, but let's just get into it. We've got some segments for you today. But before we get there, definitely follow us on social media. We are on Twitter @Gaming Groceries, or you can follow us individually. I'm at Ace the Grocer.
And I'm at Journey First.
So you can follow us there and be friends with us there, but also check us out on Instagram. Games and Groceries, all one word. We can see behind the scenes photos, little snippets of our podcast, as well as some questions that we'll ask you for the discussion, both on Twitter and Instagram. So definitely follow us on both if you want to be involved in the discussion. And follow us on Facebook. Yep, follow us on Facebook. We also have a website, gamesandgroceries.com, where you can listen to all of the podcasts from the website, as well as find out where you can listen to the audio versions of the website. And we're going to have some articles up pretty soon. From our good friend Mike, who's going to be writing some articles for the website. And if you haven't yet, definitely subscribe either on iTunes, whatever you're listening to, or on YouTube. I hope you're subscribing on YouTube and clicking that notification bell. And if you're so inclined and you would like to leave a review for the podcast, leave it over on Podchaser. There's going to be a link down below, both on audio and video. Leave a link to Podchaser. And definitely comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. Give it a like and a share and all that nonsense. So let's get right into it with our first segment.
Movie Minutes.
Movie Minutes is a segment that we talk about the movies in the past week. We like to recommend them or don't recommend them. Oh, man, I messed that up. We like to watch it on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, but not really in theaters in this point in time. And now we can recommend them or don't recommend them. It was a weird episode last week, so I'm now off my beat.
It's also a weird week.
It has been a weird week, honestly. In fact, I am not even drinking a buy drink. I am drinking a hint.
How does it taste?
I have not tried it yet.
Oh, I thought you just did.
I did not. But it is water infused with pineapple essence. I'm like, what's
pineapple essence? Not pineapple. Pineapple essence.
And it says ingredients: purified water and natural flavors. Oh boy.
So if it's not pineapple, what's pineapple essence?
I have no idea. Let's give it a try. Disgusting. So, movie minutes. We like to rank these movies, and that was not
I would try it, but I'm allergic to pineapple.
Definitely not sponsored by Hint. Come back by. Anyways, but so we watched the movie on Hulu, and it's not really in theaters anymore because theaters are shut down for the time being. But we watched on Hulu The Hustle, hooray, with Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson.
Yeah.
We both wanted to see this. We were kind of curious.
Yeah. Because we like both of those actresses. Well, you're not as big a fan of Rebel Wilson as I am, and I'm not like a huge fan, but like I enjoy her. I think she's funny. I really love her that dating app commercial she does. Is it eHarmony that she does?
Match.
I those are like one of my favorite commercials. I love her Match commercials. They're so funny.
So let's talk about The Hustle for a little bit. Opening thoughts.
Well, like I said, I was really excited to see this movie. Like when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, it looks so funny. Until you find out that really weird accent that Anne Hathaway does in the trailer is the whole movie.
Yeah.
That, actually, she does a better German accent than she did a French accent.
That's weird. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Like her French, because the French accent was supposed to be her natural accent.
Yeah.
And it was not good. But she did.
It sounded more British.
It was very weird. It was not good. But then when she had to act German, because she was pretending to be a German doctor, that accent was pretty good.
Yeah.
So it was very strange. But it was funny. It was light. It wasn't bad. It was a fun movie.
So I want to talk about this for a little bit, and then we'll go into our final ratings of this. But the opening of the movie kind of shows the contrast between the characters straight away. You have a clumsy, kind of trashy, if you watch the first scene, trashy, Rebel Wilson's character. And you have a more suave, more professional hustler that is Anne Hathaway's. And Anne Hathaway, of course, is, she's definitely made for that role to be more suave.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
In fact, when she was cast to be Catwoman, I had my low expectations because I was like, Anne Hathaway isn't suave. She doesn't have that Catwoman.
I think everyone thinks that about her because her first role was Princess Diaries.
Yeah.
And
her biggest role,
her biggest role, that was like her big break in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it was a clumsy, klutzy person.
But she did Catwoman good, and she's good here. She's good as her character. But it's that different little contrast. And I also wrote down that within the first 10 minutes, you know exactly where this movie's going. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just that you can see that you know where it's going.
Yeah, I mean, you know where it's going, but then at times you don't. Like, it wasn't when I watched the trailers. This isn't the plot I was expecting.
Yeah,
like the way they got together, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then there was a really good twist. I really liked the twist.
Yeah. And we like to think that like saying there's a twist in the movie kind of is a spoiler because now you're expecting a twist. But I will say for a clumsy movie, it has a pretty good twist to it. But yeah, the very first part you're just like, okay. It brings me to my second note though. Being a comedy film, for me at least, the comedy fell flat for most of the part.
Yeah.
And it was good for a few like like a little huffs through the nose and like a little chuckle now again. It had its moments, but for the most part, the comedy wasn't even cringy.
It was a very mild comedy.
That's the thing.
It was more of not even comic relief. It was like a weird line between comic relief and funny.
And that's the thing. It wasn't even cringy bad. It was just comedy was happening and I had zero reaction to it.
Yeah.
I wasn't being like, ooh, that's bad. I wasn't laughing. It was just kind of like a very stoic middle ground. Am I wrong?
No, I think at the
especially the jail scene where she gets captured. Yeah, that's what I mean. It was just like, it wasn't cringy. It was just like, I know what we're trying to be funny.
And I think the parts where we were supposed to laugh, like when she gets hurt or something breaks, mostly when someone gets hurt, like I feel like they were trying to go for like comedy in that way, but I didn't think it was funny. We more went,
yeah.
Maybe it's just us. Who knows?
But, but that's what I mean. It's just like, for being a comedy movie, it wasn't successful as a comedy movie.
We weren't laughing uncontrollably.
Then again, okay, so I will mention this. When we were watching this movie, I was dying of allergies. Yeah. Like I was out all day.
His allergies kicked in.
Yeah, the pollen count was really high, and you know when you have allergies, you just kind of like sit there and you have like. So now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it's because I was going through an allergy attack.
You were dying a little bit.
Yeah, and I wasn't really focused. So I will give them.
And again, we did see it's been a long week for us.
It was for other reasons, but yeah. So my final note is, in the end, it was weirdly paced. It was a weirdly paced movie, and it had its moments, but for the most part, it was kind of like it's like a mediocre film. It was one of those films that you kind of put on in the background.
I enjoyed it. Probably wouldn't watch it again unless my friend wanted to watch it or something.
Yeah, it's not really like to own on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I wouldn't go out of my way to own it or watch it. If there was nothing else on and it was on, I'm like, okay, I'll put this on while I'm doing something.
Yeah, it wasn't, and that's the other thing. For a Rebel Wilson film, this was not offensive. Like,
not at all.
It wasn't really offensive. There was one like sex scene that was about to happen, and I'm like, oh, it's a Rebel Wilson film. Here we go. But it wasn't raunchy.
They actually completely avoided the raunchy, and I really liked it.
Yeah, it was. But that's the thing. This movie wasn't really safe. It wasn't really offensive. It was just kind of. It was there. It was just like it was there. It happened. Which brings us to our final ratings. What did you give it out of 10, and why?
I gave it a 6. Right?
Why?
Yes, I did. Because I enjoyed it. I laughed. I thought it was a good movie. Mm-hmm. There were just some things that, like you said, we didn't laugh a lot. And,
right.
The really weird accent Anne Hathaway did.
Yeah, it was weird.
That was just...
Yeah.
I don't know why she couldn't just be an American living in France.
I love Anne Hathaway. I think she's a national treasure. I
absolutely love her. But don't ever make her do a French accent ever again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Because I thought she was British the whole movie.
But they were in France, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so she was doing a French accent.
Yeah.
Because she lived there. Anyway. But they did imply, and that was the thing, they did kind of imply or mention that she actually grew up in like Wisconsin or something.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, but they didn't expand it. So I don't know if Rebel Wilson was lying or if Anne Hathaway's accent is a lie. So, but yeah, so there's a couple of things like that as to why why I gave it a 6. That and like the introduction
animation
credits went on a little too long.
Yeah.
Like there's one I'm like, all right, are we done? Can we start the movie?
But and what I gave it out of 10, I gave it a 4. I gave it a 4 out of 10 because I found it to be below average. It was it didn't give me that oomph. But then again, like I said, I was going through an allergy attack, so maybe I would have given it a 5, but nothing more than a 5. This movie was just, it was okay.
It was there.
It was there, but I still give it a 4 because the comedy really fell flat. No reaction. But again, the movie is called The Hustle. It's on Hulu. It's with Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson. Don't take our words for it. This is just what we're thinking of the movie. So if you want to watch it, go for it. But, lower your expectations a little bit. But again, The Hustle on Hulu. Which brings us to our second segment.
Top 3 Gaming News.
The top 3 gaming news is the gaming news that we saw in the past week, and we like to rank it 3, 2, 1 just to give you a condensed version of what's going on in the games industry. What's going on? I don't know. Can you condense it a little bit? I can. Here I am, Papa Adam. How are we doing? I don't know what's in this hint drink.
Give me that.
No.
Give it to me.
No, there's only pineapple essence in it.
Yeah, what's essence though?
Essence. Anyways, but
you
yeah.
Just like blow the smell of a pineapple into the water.
So the number 3 gaming news that we're going to talk about today is about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, the reason why this is kind of ranking low, but it's still news, right? Well, let me just get into it. Now, let me just talk about it. Okay, I will. But Assassin's Creed Valhalla is actually going to bring back the insta-kill feature for the Hidden Blade, which if you played Odyssey and I believe Origins as well, I don't know about Syndicate. I don't know how long it's been since we haven't had insta-kill. But basically, if you were too low of a level and you tried to go in with a Hidden Blade, you wouldn't succeed. You would do some stealth damage, but not that much. Previous Assassin's Creed titles, you could go straight up to somebody, Hidden Blade, and then insta-kill right there.
Nice.
But they are bringing it back, as well as social stealth Heck yes. I'm so excited for that. Okay, if you don't know what social stealth is in Assassin's Creed games, if you ever played in a previous one, like the older ones, you could sit on a bench or blend in with the crowd or do any, like, blend in with socially. And you couldn't do that in the newer Assassin's Creed. Valhalla is bringing it back. Reason why this is news. Before I say why, let me just get into this quote right here. This is coming from Ashraf Ismail. He said, "We wanted to look at the old games and see the greatness that those games had and acknowledge what's great about their updated formula, or what's great about the updated formula. There was an identity and a uniqueness that we want to bring back for Valhalla." So why this is news is that when Odyssey came out, basically there was a quote from Quebec. No, I'm wrong. Okay, I'm just being silly right now. But there was a quote from the creators saying that, "Oh, are you a little afraid that you're gonna, leave behind older fans to get the new ones?" So they're like, we don't care about the older fans. It's a new generation. They've moved on. Now we've moved on. Here, he's saying, no, it's an Assassin's Creed game. Mm-hmm. People like myself who have been there since day one, and I'm actually making a video about it. But people like me who have been around since the first one, it's an Assassin's Creed game. It's for people like me. If you don't like Assassin's Creed, then you don't like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
But now they're bringing...
You should never start a series towards the end.
Exactly. Like so,
when your mom watched the last Harry Potter movie, and that's the only one, and she's like, "I don't get it."
Yeah, when more people were just saying like, "Oh, I hated Assassin's Creed, but I love Odyssey," that's because it wasn't Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
But now they're bringing back those features with the updated formula. What do you think about all this? You're playing the first Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. The only thing I thought of that I think is funny is that they're bringing back these stealth, like the stealth kill and the social, blending in, and it's so funny that they're doing it for a Viking game, and that is not any type of attitude you would see in a Viking.
Yeah.
Vikings don't kill stealthfully. They don't try to blend in. They come in.
But neither did pirates, and they did that with Black Flag.
Okay. But that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But that's all I'm saying.
That's
they're choosing to bring it back with a Viking game where Vikings don't do that.
Well, that's the thing. It's a Viking trained by assassins. Yeah. No, it's not a Viking.
Well, I didn't know all of this stuff. I was at work.
But the other part is that they're bringing back Jesper Kyd to do some of the music. Jesper Kyd, of course, is the composer behind Assassin's Creed 1 and the Ezio trilogy. Did he also do Revelations? I know he did 2, and I believe Brotherhood as well. I'm not sure if he did Revelations, but Jesper Kyd was the first one. And they're also bringing back the composer from Origins. This is all just coming together to be a veteran Assassin's Creed fan's dream. Mm-hmm. And that's why this is news, is because they're actually bringing this back to be an Assassin's Creed game and not an RPG for the masses, if that makes sense. But that's all I had to say about it. But any other thoughts?
Nope.
Cool. Speaking about older games coming back, Tony Hawk! Tony Hawk's coming back.
Oh no, Adam was a psychic.
I know. So we made the movie. We made the video essay, our skateboarding games coming back, and we made that a month ago.
Yeah.
And then this news dropped as soon as we released it. I'm like
we released it, and the next day or 2 days later, it was like Tony Hawk's.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. I know skateboarding games are coming back, and this is the tipping point. Because, okay, Skater XL is already announced. Sessions announced. Skateburb is coming out. Now we have Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 coming out as, it says a remaster, but I keep looking at these images. They're straight up a remake. They didn't remaster this game. They made it from the ground up, it looks like. But let me talk about this for a little bit. Tony Hawk announced that the fully remade versions of the game, both 1 and 2, coming in the package together with all the maps, the soundtrack. So we just got word of what the soundtrack will be of. There's some missing songs to it, and some people are just like, oh, why isn't this here? Why isn't that there? Okay, listen. Yeah, everybody listening to me? Cool. I don't care which games come in, as long as Guerrilla Radio's on there. I really don't care. And Guerrilla Radio is on it. And that's the thing. I don't care what other songs, as long as they got Guerrilla Radio on there. That's my opinion. And fight me on Twitter at AceTheGrosser. But this is really awesome news because there's also going to be quality of life changes. So there's going to be reverts and spine transitions. Let me bring up this quote right here from the article. All the articles are linked down below, both audio and visual. So this is a quote saying, "First, here are the basics. The remastered remastered. It looks like a remake. I might be wrong, but whatever. The remastered collection will feature updated visuals, all the original levels, characters, tricks, extra challenges, a more elaborate creative park mode where you can share custom skate parks online. Heck yes. And brand new online multiplayer modes, along with local multiplayer. Who would have thunk that? On top of that, the games will include a vast majority of the iconic THPS soundtracks, a vast majority, not all of them. No, not every song made it due to, you guessed it, everybody, licensing issues. Everybody's all in a fuss. And I'm like, I guess
they don't really have control over it.
Yeah, they don't. You excited for this? You weren't a big Tony Hawk fan.
No, I was very girly when I was little, so I didn't really do skating, and I tried skating when I was like 13 or 14, but no one would teach me, and then the wind blew me off of it, and I got cut up really bad, so I kind of stopped.
Yeah.
So I never really got into skating, and even then I wasn't into video games. So I never played it before.
Well, it's.
But I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
And the music.
Yeah.
I like music.
Yeah, and imagine like early 2000s.
I know, this sounds. I'll just sit there while you play, just so I can hear the music.
90s, 2000, like skater music.
Yeah.
And like I said, Guerrilla Radio is on there. I looked at the list. I'm like, okay, Guerrilla. Oh, thank God. Like, I would have had a heart attack.
Do I know that one?
I'm not sure if I can sing it without being copyright strike, but lights out, Guerrilla Radio, turn that crap up, because I'm not cursing.
No, I don't know that song.
Oh, man. Okay, I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
But it was the theme song behind Tony Hawk 2, which was my favorite. Tony Hawk 1 was good, but I can't wait to do the Leap of Faith off of school. I can't wait to blast Guerrilla Radio. I'm excited for it, and it's coming out September.
All the way in September. Might as well be a Christmas gift.
Well, no, that's the thing. September is just like right around the corner.
I know. I keep saying that, but like really, it's May already. It's gonna be like my birthday any second.
It's the middle of May. It's so weird.
It is.
September's just gonna go like that. Do you know what's coming out in July? Before I get into number one gaming news, by the way, Paper Mario was announced for July. A new Paper Mario game. Ghost of Tsushima is coming out July 17th. That's right over there.
The day after our anniversary.
Oh yeah. Well, like I just saw the date.
That's the other thing. We're like, oh my God, our anniversary's like coming soon. We have to figure something out.
Oh my goodness, all these games are coming out, and it's right over there. As soon as they said,
right there.
Yeah. As soon as they said Ghost of Tsushima is July 17th, I was like, no, I have so much things to do. I still haven't gone through my backlog, which I will report on later. But my backlog list for my New Year's resolution, I'll talk about that another time. But let's just move.
Going well.
It's not going well. But number one gaming news: Epic Games has released a tech demo for the Unreal Engine 5, and this is really cool because we get to finally see, after only hearing about it, the actual technical spectacle that is next generation hardware. So we got to see a little bit of it. It's like a little level. I forget what they called it, but they said it's a playable demo, but it's not a full game. And what was really cool is that saying like, hey, this is right off of a dev kit. This isn't pre-rendered. We just got this off the dev kit. We put an HDMI cord into it and just let it play. Like this is an actual in-engine, like this is what gameplay footage will look like. You haven't had a chance to see it yet. You will as you edit this video, I guess. But that's the thing. And it's really, really, really awesome because we get to see the smoothness and the realness of this. In fact, Tim Sweeney has already said that the SSD that is in the PS5 is more powerful than high-end PCs right now.
Wow. And
he said that they could not achieve this tech demo if it wasn't for the PS5's, beefy, like if it wasn't for the PS5's benchmarks. And that's what I mean. A lot of people looked at the PS5 specs and they just said, it's weaker than the Xbox Series X. No. It has the finesse because of the computing frequency involved. It will have a finesse to it that we haven't seen before. Whereas Xbox Series X is just going to be a beefy boy. So let me bring up this quote. Tim Sweeney says this. Epic Games founder and CEO Tim Sweeney explained Unreal Engine 5 is meant to do things that are absolutely not possible today. This means offering new levels of photorealism and visuality, but also offer these tools in a way that increases productivity and the efficiency of game developers. Lumen, that's what they called it. Lumen and Nanite are just the order of magnitude of leaps in visual quality, but they are greatly simplifying technologies for the artists who build content. So all of that's jargon basically runs down to this is what we're going to offer with Unreal Engine 5. Like, this is what you can do, and it's absolutely not possible with current gen hardware. Any other thoughts on this?
That's super cool.
Yeah, I did not show
excited.
you it. Yeah, no,
didn't show me.
It looks buttery smooth. It looks fantastic. It looks photorealistic. There's a lot more triangles involved, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked for this. And like I said, it's going to be a finesse system. Xbox Series X is going to have a lot of terrain, a lot of RPGs, a lot of open worlds, but you're going to see a lot of like really detailed images in the PS5. That's what I'm thinking. But what do you think? Put it down in the comments down below if you're watching this on YouTube. What do you think about those news pieces? First of all, Assassin's Creed bringing back social stuff and the insta-kill. Are you excited? Did you like Odyssey? You're wrong, but did you like Odyssey? Write your comments down below. What do you think about all that news? Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Are you going to play it? Are you disappointed that not all the soundtrack is in there? Do you think Guerrilla Radio is the best part of the soundtrack? If so, you're my buddy. And finally, with the Epic Games releasing Unreal Engine 5 gameplay footage. What do you think about that? Write down in the comments down below. So, with all that said and done, you know what it's time for. It's time for our final segment.
Coffee time.
Every single week here on the Games and Groceries podcast, we like to have a little discussion about the gaming industry, whether it be about female gamers or game preservation. We're here to talk about video games, video game industry, and just have a little discussion. By the way, I forgot to say in the beginning, but if you haven't known at this point, there's timestamps down below. If you just want to skip ahead to these kind of discussions, you're free to do so. If you want to just do some news pieces, you're free to do so. You're in I
mean, at this point, it's a little late.
Yeah, but, it's the American dream. It's the American podcast. So, do with it what you will, even if you live in Germany. I don't know. It's the German podcast as well. Or France. A lot of people from France are listening to us for some reason.
Guess we'll have to go to France.
Yeah, and Canada. It's cool.
I want to go to Canada.
I've been to Canada.
I've never been. Shut up. I've never been anywhere.
Yeah, I went to Toronto. But so before I get into that, hint. What is this? It's not good. I don't like hints. So so the cap says.
I'm gonna try it. I'm allergic to pineapples, but I'm gonna try it.
It tastes like tap water. It says it's the water that makes you love water, but.
You know what it smells like?
What's it smell like?
It smells like
essence?
It does taste like essence.
Yeah.
It vaguely smells like the fluoride that they use at the dentist.
Yeah.
Like a little bit sweeter than that, but like that's what it smells. It smells like fluoride. When they're like put on your teeth and you have to sit there and then you can't eat or drink anything for 30 minutes and it's disgusting.
Yeah,
That's what it smells like.
I already love water, so I don't need this. I drink 100 ounces of water a day, and so I don't need.
We don't need flavor in our water. We just enjoy straight up water.
You're weird. So
I'm not weird. I have water.
So let's get into the discussion here. We already talked about Hint way too much. Totally not sponsored. At this point, if we were,
Say, God, I hope not.
bye Hint. So there we go. So I thought of this topic after listening to the Gus and Eddie podcast, where Eddie was talking about Eddie Burback, where he was talking about how much he loves Breath of the Wild. Now, he said that he was playing it through for the third time at this point.
I haven't even gotten halfway through.
Whereas Gus Johnson, he was just talking about like, I liked it. Just, I don't think I want to play it like 3 times through. But Eddie was talking about why he loves it so much. And basically he was saying it lets him relive a moment in his life when it first came out. He's making it relive a summer day where he was back home with his family and he was just working just a regular job, and he was with his brother and his friend, and he saw it on the mail stop, his copy of Breath of the Wild. And he worked and then he played Breath of the Wild, and he worked and he played Breath of the Wild, and it's just kind of reliving that. And it got me thinking that's really how a lot of games are that we enjoy. It's almost reliving that, reliving that moment. So the very first question I have for the discussion, like, why does nostalgia affect our favorite choices of media?
Because I feel like when you're younger, it's such a simpler time. So when you're playing or even playing or watching, like playing a game, watching a movie, thinking of something from when you're younger, it kind of makes you remember like those simple, fun times, and you just focus on the game more than anything else, I think, at that point. Because like once you get in that nostalgia feeling and you feel like you're a kid again, like, and you're playing it, you just kind of get in that mindset where you're like, you're just focused on the game. You're not thinking about any adult responsibilities. You're just playing.
Did you just turn into Angelica from Rugrats?
I turned into all of the Rugrats.
Oh, got
They
you.
all pronounce it like that.
Yikes. Okay. But
or your Rugrats.
But when did that show come out? It came out I think it came out in 91. I was like,
Pretty sure it came out in 91.
yeah, that blew my mind because I was like, wait, I thought it came out when I was a kid. Not like, because I was born in 91 boy. But yeah, it's weird. But anyways,
Anyway.
but no, it's exactly that. It reminds you of that simpler time.
Yeah.
In fact, that's why I love Assassin's Creed 2 so much, and I play it over and over and over and over again, especially the first Assassin's Creed. Very first Assassin's Creed, I was just in high school, and very simpler time. And then in Assassin's Creed 2 came out, it was my very first year in college, and I had no friends. I didn't know what I was doing. But I was playing Assassin's Creed 2, and I actually made a lot of friends, because they shared their interests with Assassin's Creed 2. And it went into later years where like, I love Assassin's Creed 2. And we just played all the time. And that's my comfort food. But like you said, it just reminds you of those simpler times. You just pop in any piece of media, whether it be a game or a movie or even definitely music, music for sure.
Yes.
But it's almost like, and it's my second point, like it's almost like that sense of smell where it just brings you back.
Yeah.
And psychologists have said, I think everybody knows this at this point. By the way, I'm sorry, I have allergies. I'm like itching my nose. It's okay. A little side note. It's the worst time to have allergy attacks because I was in a gas station, grocery store, market, a little gas station market thing. And I was just like, this cannot be the day because I had my face mask on. I was trying to get allergy medicine because I was out. So I was doing my job. And I'm like trying to hold in my coughs and my sneezes and my eyes are runny. I'm like, this is not the area.
I just had the worst thought ever.
Huh.
Sneezing in your mask.
Yeah, no, I held in everything.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I held in.
That's disgusting.
I held in like a champ. And I was just like, this is not the time to have allergies. And I even asked the cashier, like, hey, are there any tissues around here? And she's like, pardon? Like, but anyways, so I'm sorry if I'm like itching I know don't touch your face, but yeah. Anyways.
Oh, we're way past that.
But it's almost like that sense of smell in psychology where a sense of smell immediately sends you back to a memory that you have. And I feel like media does that for you too. What other games can we think of that bring us back to a simpler time?
I know. I mean, doesn't bring me back to a simpler time, but I know that every time I play Sims, I remember when the first and second Sims were still out, and my little sister and I didn't quite get how to build a house. I mean, I'm turning 27 this year, and I still struggle with figuring out how to make the house look like the ones in the town. But when I was younger, my little sister and I literally would just make giant squares and there would be like miles between different rooms. Jeez. And my mom would be like, you guys just like make your house too big. And so every time I play Sims, I think of that. I'm like, don't make your house too big.
Jeez.
I'm like, you don't need all that space. So I think of that. But I think the first thing I think of when I think of like, simpler time, I think of Ready to Rumble on my N64 and Glover. It's really like the two. And I had Miss Pac-Man. Miss Pac-Man was my very first like my video game. So
and that's the thing. It doesn't have to be a video game that has, well reviewed and it's like the best game ever. It doesn't have to be that.
No.
And that's the thing is that like you have that moment with a video game that you don't care what the reviews are. You really don't care because it brings you back to that time. You value that game because of that time that you played it.
Ooh, I had Sega for I had Sonic for the Genesis.
Sonic for the Genesis, yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
I really loved that game too. I forgot about that.
I also think about Skyrim, especially because Skyrim... Okay, so I've been really enthralled with video games for pretty much my entire life. Skyrim was the very first game where I legitimately lost track of time because I was playing it so hard. Because this was back in college. I was in my junior year. And in junior year, it was best roommate ever. The guy who does top 3 gaming news. That was my roommate in college at the time. My favorite roommate, aside from... Okay, so I had some other favorite roommates, but I loved hanging out with him. We have to bring him back on the podcast.
Okay.
Marcus. But yeah, so we were playing, I was playing Skyrim, and I just said, hey, I'm just going to do a couple missions before my class. It's in an hour. And this was at 10 in the morning, right? And I was playing it. Legitimately... I stopped playing it and it was dinner time. I legitimately sat down, listen, I'm just going to play this for an hour, go to my next class, then going to go to lunch and then go to my next class after that. And I just looked at the clock and I said, oh my, it is 6. It is 6 o'clock. How did that happen? I love Skyrim now.
At 6 o'clock, the dining hall was almost closed by then.
Yeah.
Our dining hall closed at 6:30.
Yeah. I was just like,
you almost missed dinner.
Yeah. I legitimately fell in love with that game because of everything happening in junior year, because that was a rough time in my life. I had a mentor of mine die that year. We were in kind of like a really crappy living situation.
Oh my gosh, that dorm was horrible.
A lot of things were happening in that year, but Skyrim brought me back to a time where I finally lost sense of time, and I didn't need to think about everything that was stressing me out. And it just enthralled me. And that's why I love Skyrim so much. I don't care how it's reviewed. I don't care if it's reviewed as the best game ever or the worst game of the Elder Scrolls series.
And it's funny because you bring up Skyrim as your nostalgia thing from college. I actually have memory of Skyrim because that was when your mom bought that. You got that for Christmas. Yeah. And that was the first time I went Black Friday shopping with you and your mom. And I was there when your mom got it because she was she wanted to get you a video game or something. I don't remember the situation, but she's like, what video game do you want for Christmas? And you just threw it into the cart.
We're going to adjust your microphone there.
Okay. I don't know how to handle this microphone and talk to you, and I'm not good at it. But I have that memory of
come up here. There you go.
This way?
Yeah. You're speaking into the...
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
But no, I just remember you just kind of she's like, which one do you want? And I think you were torn between Skyrim and something else. And I think I remember even telling you get Skyrim because you had been talking about it for a while.
No, that was a different time. That was a remaster. That was Skyrim remaster, and I was between that and What was the
I
other
don't
game?
remember. I think it was like Red something.
No, it wasn't Red Dead.
No, it wasn't Red Dead. I just remember it was like, I remember it had like a red cover.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was a really good time for me. Now, the other question that I have now, speaking of remakes, remasters like Skyrim remaster and all that, do remasters kind of take away from that nostalgia? Do you need to play it on the original console to get that kind of feel, or do remasters kind of make it better that you kind of remember the graphics being like that, and now you're seeing it like you remember?
I feel like remasters are okay. I think they can still bring back nostalgia, but only a hint of it. I feel like playing the actual game on like the original console that you played it on, that I feel like is the most nostalgia, because you are literally you have the same controller in your hand. You have the same graphics on your screen. So I feel like to get maximum nostalgia,
it
has to be on the system that you played it on, and it has to be the same game you played. But like remasters can still bring back that hint.
Yeah, that's the thing. I find remasters to be like that hit of nostalgia feels.
It's like doing a shot of nostalgia.
Yeah, because playing older games on newer consoles, because we see graphics the way, oh man, this was crazy, like big for the time, but now we go back to it and it's like, oh, the graphics aren't that good, were they? But it still brings that nostalgia feel, because especially if you play on the N64, you got the cartridge, you blow on it to get the dust out, even though you're not supposed to do that, because
but everyone did it.
Everybody did it.
And it worked, so who cares?
Yeah. But like you do that, you put it right into the console, and then as soon as you put it into the console, you remember when you were a kid and you just like put it in, you grab your N64, you especially if you play on a CRT TV, and it's just that hit of nostalgia, right? And I know we talked a little bit about this with Quentin on episode 99 about basement gaming, but it's just that feeling of putting it into the console and not loading it from your digital library. I have nothing really against remasters or remakes for that, especially since Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 are being okay. It looks like a remake. They are saying a remaster. I don't know. Maybe it's a remaster. Maybe I'm being stupid, but I think it's a remake. But that's the thing, is that sure, it may not look like the Tony Hawk that we played, but it's how we remember it.
Yeah. I was just thinking about this isn't really video games, but like, so for like an example, it's like my dad. So my family took home videos every Christmas. We have video like VCR videotapes from almost every year of Christmas. From born to I don't even know how long, till I went to college. And so my dad came to me. He's like, hey, if I give you the like files, because he had a way to put them on the computer. He's like, if I give you the files, can you put them on DVDs for me? I said, yeah, sure. And I was just thinking, I was like, it would be so nostalgic to like watch my home videos like from my house with my husband on a DVD. I'm like, but it definitely wouldn't be the same as sitting there, because my little sister and I had a tradition. We watched them every single year. Second Thanksgiving was over, we sat and we watched our home videos from Christmas. And but part of it was that my sister and I never rewound them. So in the beginning of every season, before we even got to watch it, we had to sit there and rewind everything. So like it'd be weird to sit there and just be able to pop it in and press play. That's the other thing, having to press play.
But
yeah.
So
cool
I asked you on Twitter and also Instagram, what are some games that aren't reviewed well but bring you nostalgia feels? So we have 3 answers here. First being from the Greatest Show on Dirt, Quentin, who was on episode 99. Thrasher Skate and Destroy for the PS1. It wasn't as popular, but was so much more realistic than Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and I agree with that. If you played Thrasher Skate and Destroy, it was way ahead of its time in being a skate game that I can't remember the actual features of it, but I remember playing it, and it was way ahead of its time. Nobody really appreciated it because Tony Hawk was more the arcadey style, whereas Thrasher really wanted the simulation of skateboarding games, but that was back in the PS1. And I agree. Yeah, like it brings back nostalgia feels. And then we have from Volt Supreme. I just clicked and Sorry, I'm still on allergies. Like I'm still like mustering through like a man. Ugh. But yeah, I'm a sleepy boy right now. So Volt Supreme says, Space Dude. I'm sure that didn't review well. Check it out if you can find it. Me and my bro kind of loved that game because it's so hard. And again, it's not really, I've never heard of Space Dude before.
Yeah.
But it's one of those games that you don't care if it was reviewed well. You don't care. You don't even look at the reviews. It's that you had your fun times with your family, your brother. And that's amazing. Like, that's what you should be reflecting on more than anything else, right? And then finally we have from at Commander Nikki. Let me just bring up her full response. So again, I asked, what are games that aren't reviewed well but bring in nostalgia? So Commander Nikki says this. This really got my brain to rattle like some old rusty machine. I feel that. Because I don't think I have any games that aren't seen as masterpieces but are special to me, or at least that I can think of right now. Most importantly, when can we start speaking about nostalgia? A few things do come to mind, because though I'm not sure if they count because mostly just the age of the graphics, original non-modded vanilla Skyrim. I agree with that. Once I saw somebody call it actually just gray and brown mud colored. That's true. The original Skyrim was just very like desaturated. When the remastered came out, I was like, oh, look, color. That's nice. So I agree with that. And we were not allowed, and they were not all too wrong for some parts, but I still love it, and I think it's a pretty breathtaking game. Wouldn't have bought it for a fourth time for my Switch otherwise. Yeah, fourth time. We all bought Skyrim like 1,000 times. I was surprised when I started the first Red Dead Redemption again, and everything looked kind of dead. In my heart and memory, I thought I had some graphics and environment that are... in my heart, the memory I had the same graphics and environment as RDR2 did. Yeah, that's what I was talking about too, is that like we start to think about the old games as these really heavy graphics. And that's what I appreciate about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 being remade, is that we're going to be playing it the way we remember it.
Yeah.
And that's what's most important here. And then finally she says, also, I recently found out that apparently Pokemon Mystery Dungeon aren't super loved. Really? Huh, interesting. Loved among the Pokemon fans, and now I'm just a little afraid that if I go back to them, I won't like them as much as I do now. Maybe nostalgia clouding my judgment is something worth talking about, as at Gaming Gabbing pointed out in their Sky episode. By the way, Gaming Gabbing, like, by the way, if you're listening to this, you guys went hard on those skies. Like, you're just like, no, this sky, no good. This sky, beautiful. But I'm paraphrasing. But you do you. You said my sky was stupid, though. But they said, okay, one of them was nice. I said, Assassin's Creed Origins. They said, that was nice. Kingdom Come Deliverance. No, Sky bad. And I was like, my heart is broken. But anyways, but yeah, like what Commander Nikki was saying is that sometimes there are games out there that we have full memories of. And sometimes when we look at the reviews, maybe we'll have a different thought process to it.
Yeah.
Like she said, that one Pokemon game, or she said it wasn't revered well with Pokemon fans, but she likes it.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know if those reviews will kind of like steer her view in one way or another. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know. I can't say too much because I only had like, I think the games that like everyone kind of knew and played growing up. But I don't know.
Yeah. No.
I don't know.
No, that's exactly.
My brain died.
But that's the thing, is that there's a lot of times where you'll play a video game, you'll play a game, and sometimes you'll just say, I really enjoyed this, but then you'll kind of look at reviews and you'll see the little nitpicky.
Like when I really like movie and then you say like what you didn't like, I was like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it's like you see the reviews and you just kind of think to yourself, like, is that nitpicky or is that an actual criticism?
Yeah,
and it kind of affects your views on it. But what's most important with a lot of video games that we love and enjoy is that nostalgia plays a huge part into it. And, you know, I think we can celebrate that for the most part. There's definitely games where I'm looking at right now, Midnight Club for PlayStation 2. I love that game because I used to go to my friend John's house and we used to just play Midnight Club every day after school for at least 3 months. And we would just race each other and it was fun. And Halo 2, we would just battle each other with Halo 2. Halo 2 is, up there, but so was Midnight Club. But that's the thing. I don't care what the reviews were. I really don't care. It just brings me back to a time where things were just simpler and I didn't have, how was it pronounced from the Rugrats? Adults.
Responsibilities.
There you go.
At least that's how I imagine they would say it.
Yeah. Maybe that's your nostalgia talking. Who knows?
I want to go watch Rugrats. I loved that show.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's like even just any pieces of media, it doesn't matter what it reviews. Do you enjoy it? Yeah. Does it remind you of a simpler time? Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
My favorite game is nostalgia. But any other games that come to mind for you?
I was trying to think of
what about Rock Band?
I didn't play Rock Band that much. I was more of my little sister and her boyfriend and her friends. I mean, I sometimes did like the singing parts, but even then I couldn't really sing most of the songs. So I didn't play Rock Band that much. I liked the tennis, like the Wii Fit tennis, and I didn't play the Wii that much either. I only played like the Fit stuff, like the bowling. I'm trying to think of like what game I really liked on the GameCube other than Sims. I just remember I would get a Sims game. I think it was usually Sims 2 because I was playing it in the basement. And I would play Sims 2 on the GameCube and I would sit there, I'd play for hours, be like, oops, it's dinner time.
Yeah.
Like I would just sit there for hours and then my mom would be calling me for dinner. I'm like, what? I'd been playing for 4 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I've been there.
in Sims, it's a little easier to sync 4 hours because first you have to make the person. And in Sims 2 for the GameCube, it was like you had to randomly get a face. You couldn't really morph it too much. So it was very complicated.
Yeah.
So it was very easy to do 4 hours and still not get anywhere in Sims 2 for GameCube. But, that, I don't know. I didn't play too many video games. I played a lot of like computer games. Like my family had all the Jumpstart games.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember those?
Jumpstart 5th grade was the best one.
We had one for every grade and I remember I still think of what a noun is when I need to think about it. I go a person, place, or thing. These are all nouns, so you're wearing a noun.
What the?
That was one of the songs in it. It was like my favorite part of the whole game was the noun song. It was great.
I also remember Zombies. Zombies was pretty lit. Zombies was like another version of like Jumpstart.
Yeah, I didn't have that. We only had Jumpstart. We had Jumpstart Kindergarten. We had Jumpstart like kindergarten through like 7th or 8th grade. It was insane.
Am I thinking of the right game, Zombies?
Do you remember the one game? I don't know if you played because you were in private school for like elementary school.
Zombie? No, not zombies. Zombies.
But do you remember? Did you ever have to play?
Am I remembering anything wrong?
Maybe you made it up.
Am I? Oh no! Maybe
you're spelling it wrong.
No, I might be having a Mandela effect right now.
But do you remember? It was like this game. It was like a math game that they made us play online at school. Not at school, but for homework. It was like something 24. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It was like red and yellow.
Yeah.
I remember that. I just thought of that.
Zumbinis. Yeah, Zumbinis, bro. The Zumbinis games were like the littest.
Yeah, I played Jumpstart.
Yeah, Zumbinis.
I also had a lot of Barbie games. I had the Barbie riding game, the Barbie makeover game, where you would like pick Barbies, like you do her hair, like you would cut her hair and her nails and her makeup, and then you dress, and then like it was like you could choose. I think it was like her wedding, so you like did all her hair and makeup. That was like my favorite game. That, and I had Barbie horseback riding, and you like took care of the horses because I loved horses growing up. I still love horses. I think they're beautiful.
So we're going down a little trip right now.
Yeah.
So
I'll shut up.
Well, like let's just end our conversation with that. But let's just imagine though that while tech is advancing and while games are getting better, the next generation is coming. You shouldn't have a problem with going back to the older games, just popping up your little GameCube and just putting the little tiny little disc in and just having a blast because that's what you had simpler times with, you know? It's okay to just have a nostalgia trip, you know. You don't have to always constantly keep up with the newest games. go back, have a little nostalgia trip. It's fine, you know, just like what Simply John Sausage did. You know, he goes back to Pong after he hung skaters. So
Yeah.
it's all right. But that's all I really have to say about this. Feel nostalgic, play your old games. You know, we talked about basement gaming in '99, but now we're talking about just nostalgia trips, you know, of anything. So any other final thoughts?
Nope.
Yeah, cool. So we might have got lost because even we went on a power trip right there, but little memory lane, little do with dad. But
Yeah.
find gameplay of Zoombinis. Zoombinis was the latest. Jumpstart had nothing. to
Jumpstart was
Zoombinis.
amazing. Shut up.
Zoombinis all the way.
Jumpstart was great. Play Jumpstart.
So we thank you for listening to this week's podcast. And if you haven't yet, definitely follow us on Twitter at Gaming Groceries. And you follow us on Instagram, Games Groceries, all one word. Check out our website, gamesgroceries.com. If you haven't yet, definitely subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done that yet, click that notification bell. And if you enjoyed this episode, definitely give it a like and a share because it definitely helps out the channel a lot. And with all that said and done, we'll see you in the next week. Hope you have a safe week. See you later.
Bye.